And we'll do it live.
All right, we are doing it live.
All right,
What
welcome
is
back
it?
to our second episode of Mojo Boys. As usual, we have our tags down below. On YouTube, we got my Twitch, we got our X now, right?
Are
Twitter,
you
formerly Twitter.
are you streaming tonight? The day
I
that
might
we're
stream.
recording this?
I am not going to be streaming tonight. I'm going to be getting a set schedule for us to stream. And then if needed, I will up that schedule as you know, as
Well,
chance
I
demand it.
I, I was gonna say in the event that somebody were to miss a stream, the full VODs. Is that what they're called?
Yeah,
Will be
yes, I
uploaded
Yes.
onto
do.
the
I do
channel.
have VODs up on my channel. I think I've only got 2 right now, but as the streams increase, the VODs will increase. So you can just tune in, throw it on in the background, at while after you're done listening to this podcast, throw on one of my VODs. It'll have some dinner with me. You know.
Or like go mow the lawn or something. I don't
Just
know.
listen to me scream in your ear.
Shower,
Yeah, no, like
dance.
With shower
clean your
with just right.
kitchen,
Mm-hmm.
Cook with
Mm-hmm.
just right.
clean your kitchen, clean your entryway,
Clean your pet pig.
clean your dashboard. It might be a little dusty.
Spider Ham.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Make sure you're topped up on windshield wiper fuel.
Clean your
Liquid.
special hobby socks.
Oh yeah. Make sure that you turn all your laundry the right side in when you put it into the washer.
I wear my
Make sure
shirts
it gets
upside
clean.
down.
Yep. Make sure you look at the tags to see how
Mhm.
you're supposed to wash.
Yeah,
In the
yeah.
event you
Some
have
of
to
these,
air dry
yeah,
or
these are hand wash stuff.
always,
Um,
always.
look into your local dry cleaners, right? If you've got
Great start.
suits.
Mm.
Well, I wanted to follow up on our last podcast episode because we talked about Rivals and Overwatch and the comparisons and how Overwatch really needs to step up their game and do something to bring back players. And it seems like Overwatch was already on top of the curve, trying to bring that back. So they did do a spotlight. Just I want to say a couple days ago, from maybe even a week ago, from since today we're recording the VOD. And I've got the cliff notes up. Um, let's go ahead and just jump right in and look at this real quick. Pat, would you like to give us a quick rundown on things you noticed when we skimmed through the spotlight?
Sure. I wasn't really paying the closest attention because I haven't played Overwatch 2 myself. I'm just a poor refugee from the first game, now getting back into hero shooters with Marvel Rivals. But I think that the biggest takeaway from all of this is the competition in the hero shooter genre is heating up. You know, Marvel
Oh,
Rivals debuted to such an insane amount of support and enjoyment. There's been a lot of stuff that we're going to talk about later that I feel like has boosted Marvel Rivals' reputation in the scene as well. So I feel like all of what we're seeing from Overwatch is a perfect response. I do commend them for this. It's a perfect response to the traction that Marvel Rivals has gained in the scene after so long of not having any real competitors. This is good.
oh,
We see that they're
absolutely.
shaking up gameplay with hero perks, even down to how they're tracking competitive rank. They're resetting everyone. We're all starting from zero. Um, rewards for playing and everything, like loot boxes and skins for your weapons, are really good to see. Um, they're doing a lot of stuff that makes it seem like they're trying to ride the coattails of Marvel Rivals, at least to me, with especially the Stadium mode. How
Stadium mode
let's say
seems
I, I, I
similar
was
it is.
I was just about to say something about
yeah,
that.
the
Looked
stadium mode.
interesting.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Well, we can dip into that a bit more. Um, Zach, did you end up touching Overwatch 2 when that launched?
Not when it launched. It was a little after. I more played when Pat did on launch of Overwatch 1. We kind of both got in on that pretty early on, but then it just fell off and I didn't go back to it until like a couple years ago with Overwatch 2. And I don't know. As a
Because you were
casual player, it
you
was
were a
fine, I guess.
Winston main, weren't you? Back
Oh
in
yeah.
Overwatch 1.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
Big
my thing about it.
monkey equals good bit, so I started using him and
Yeah,
I actually
peanut
ended up
butter.
being pretty decent with him. Yeah, it was literally just the peanut butter emote.
See, if you and I ever topped against each other in Overwatch 1, I would have despised you so much because I was Genji main and Winston, was a counter, such a good counter to Genji. And in response, I would have just swapped over to Bastion to, melt through your health pool. Guilty, as charged, but Overwatch 2,
I'm just
obviously,
mad you didn't have peanut butter.
you're
Funny
right.
guy. I was dipping my.
I had small bird. I had small bird or Genji blade. And that was it. But
Wait. When Winston dips his finger in the peanut butter, he curls his monkey finger. Does that mean something? Should we dig into that deeper?
and the monkey paw.
You could argue that he is granting a wish to himself with that peanut butter because we know how much Winton loves peanut butter.
Yeah, I always
he's-
felt it gave me a little buff. Whenever I
He's-
did that emote, I always
Mhm.
felt a little placebo buff.
He's curling the proverbial monkey's paw, wishing for peanut butter, getting the peanut butter, but at the cost of untold riches in the future. Perhaps we will never know the extent of what Winston has lost in the pursuit of
We
peanut
can't
butter.
upload this.
Too
many secrets are getting out.
We took a small detour. Getting back on track, I did play Overwatch 1 up until the content drought. Left it alone. Overwatch 2 was close to releasing. I hopped back into Overwatch 1 to say my goodbyes. And played a little bit of Overwatch 2 until it got stale. Seeing the spotlight, I think just a couple. I want to say like right before the spotlight came out, just a couple days before. And I know, Pat, you were there when I was talking about it with Jared, and it's a shame he's not here recording this podcast with us today. I had a slight interest in reinstalling it just to play it casually when I do crash out on Rivals. Seeing the spotlight, it is so tempting to reinstall Overwatch 2 just to get a feel for what they're doing, and give it another shot. But on the other hand, I want to hold strong and make a statement that, you guys didn't do anything. You guys played it safe for so long that it got boring, it got stale. So I think I'm going to let the first wave of players go back into Overwatch before I give it another shot. And, if it comes to it, if people want to see me do some Overwatch, I'll hop back in earlier than later. The hero perks, that was one of the big things they talked about at the start of the spotlight, where as the match progresses, you get a minor perk, a major perk that pretty much changes the gameplay of the game. The rank reset, everybody, Grandmaster, Bronze, or I guess not Bronze because they're already in Bronze, Silver, Gold, Platinum, Diamond, they're all starting ground level entry floor. The Galactic Weapon skins, just quick cliff notes. We started off with Gold back in Overwatch 1. We eventually got the Jaded skins, I think, in Overwatch 2. So they're, at least revamping the weapon skins for people. Loot boxes, never thought I'd see those come back. It sucks that it's a positive thing to talk about that people are excited that loot boxes are coming back. But on the other hand, it makes it more available for people that don't want to buy the battle pass and get some of those things. Hero bands. Pat, you and I have our producer Jarrell have been playing Rivals with hero bands since we're all in Diamond rank at the moment. Pat, how do you feel about hero bands in the hero shooter?
Personally, I am a massive fan of the way that it changes how you approach the initial interaction with the other team, because you have some semblance of knowing what threats that you're able to lay off of and what you can expect their composition to be like. Like the most popular band, for example, Hulk to disable Gamma Gang, you'll see fewer Iron Man. You'll
Too
see
much hold tape.
maybe Strange on his own, I feel like pulls enough weight to
Absolutely.
justify a solo pick, so that won't really affect it. But having Hulk off the board and taking away that extra damage that he's providing to Iron Man and Doctor Strange, who are already two of the best damage dealers, it's big interactions and strategic like bans like that kind of make me a huge proponent for hero bans, which is why I'm so grateful that we've made it to Diamond, because it introduces another layer of strategy. Like, that's not even to speak about target bans.
You to think about how you're going to play, what you want to play, and how you can ban your counter.
It makes you branch out too. Use different people. Like one season you're using I don't know, you're just using a random character. Next season they're suddenly meta, like Storm.
Oh
How
yeah,
do you adapt? How do you
Storm last
adapt
season was.
to getting banned every single ranked game?
Oh yeah.
You
Oh
got to
yeah.
learn new people.
I know with our producer Drill and with Pat, every time we play together ranked, first I have main Strange, and I talked about this in the last episode. And Strange, he's a good front shield. Melee obviously goes through my shield. But those kidnaps are dangerous. So my first thing to ban has been consistently Wolverine. I try to ban Wolverine as much as possible because in those higher elos, if you get kidnapped, you're done. That's it. The team falls apart, and there's nothing you can do. And the other ban I've been pushing towards a lot is Cloak and Dagger. I think Cloak and Dagger, since it has that AoE healing and that
He's
burst,
lethal. They are lethal.
there's so much consistent healing that Cloak and Dagger combos so well with any other healer that if you ban that, most people are comfortable with Cloak and Dagger. You force them to learn a new healer that they're not that comfortable with, the team falls apart. It is just a matter of that structure. You take a leg out, the rest falls. You know? Pat, do you have any other bans you like preferring? Because I know you've been banning Cloak and Dagger with me, in those higher ranks with us.
Right. See, as a Loki main, I'm very conflicted about this one, but at the same time, being able to take Luna Snow out of the equation when your teammate isn't like a Luna Snow main themselves is extremely valuable to me. Just because that obnoxious ultimate of hers is, yeah, it's reason enough to ban her, but she's also one of the most potent healers in the game with her guard, her shift ability being a nice way to punch through multiple teammates and enemies if they're all lined up correctly, which, I mean, the number one thing you want to see as a healer is good placement from your team during team
Oh,
fights.
absolutely.
So when you've got a good team and a good Luna to take advantage of that, they become almost unkillable in the right situation. Not even to speak of the ultimate that
They
makes
basically
them
are unkillable.
essentially unkillable
12 seconds
without
you can't do anything.
Mhm.
Yeah, so
You either got to spend an ultimate or team shoot the hell out of her and pray that you're doing enough.
accuracy is enough
Yeah,
to.
She
nonstop
can move quick
headshots.
too.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
It is
Oh, yeah.
it is
Pretty hard
insane.
target to hit, especially when there's all the other invincible enemies shooting at you. It's the fucking tomb. It's the goddamn
It's
tomb boss fight,
it's the
dude.
tomb. The newest Call of Duty Zombies map
Fuck
has
that map.
some real fucking nonsense in it.
So
And
I will beat it. I will
we're
beat it.
tormented.
So I think hero bans are definitely going to change up the competitive scene in Overwatch, which it's something that the fan base has been talking about for years, and every time that we've mentioned it, Blizzard has always shut it down as a no. It's just about counter picks, and that's the whole point of hero bans. You don't have to worry about that counter pick. You just got to think strategically now about how you play into the meta you're currently playing. That being said, I believe last season or maybe even the season before, they were and I want to say this in quotations, beta testing 6v6 in Overwatch 2. I think it's ridiculous. We could have just, to one extent, the new tanks that they added to Overwatch were built around 5v5. However, some of the older tanks were, built for 6v6 that still haven't made their spotlight into the meta. So it's gonna be interesting seeing 6v6 finally, make a comeback, which is what everybody it forces everybody to play together. 5v5, everything falls back either on the tank or the support. At least now with 6v6, it's equal group effort. They did also spotlight their new hero.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see the hero design change if they do continue to push 6v6 as their new normal
I
after
think
all this testing.
they're absolutely gonna have to rework some of the heroes again. Like Orisa getting launched into Overwatch 2, she had that. I think it was her E ability where she turns like golden and has like reduced damage intake. They're gonna have to rework that again because of just the way it worked. And I think if they do the 6v6, with the hero perks is we still don't have all the. At least I haven't looked too far into the details of the hero perks, if it's comp or special game mode or where that's applying. But that's going to change some things.
The perks kind of remind me of the augments from Fortnite, which I do
The
miss.
augments, yep.
I am sad still that they took those out. I didn't really like them at first, but
Oh, they grew on me.
They were
yeah,
a very
they grew on me
interesting
a
way
lot.
to shake
They
up
were
the
really
game.
good. Some of
In a
them,
game that's so samey, you know?
yeah, exactly. Made every. I mean, there wasn't a crazy amount of augments to pick from, but there was enough to where not every game was the exact same. Sure,
You know,
you'd get repeats a lot, but
It wasn't exactly like earth-shattering stuff all the time, but there were games where it really, really hit.
it made a
it
difference.
made a difference. It made a
Yes.
big difference.
It
Yeah.
makes
You might not
like
have
some of the
had the
abilities they
best
gave
loot,
you.
but you had the better movement, and that better movement, would have swapped that, changed that team fight. And that's what Rivals does with the team ups. You can go into a match with no team ups and still sweep because your teammates are so good. However, you might be getting diffed hard, and swapping and just getting one team up in there sometimes is enough to change the team fight, which is where the those augments, the team ups, the perks, whatever you want to call them, can make all the difference. Um,
Absolutely.
they did showcase a little bit of their new hero coming, Freya. It's a crossbow shooter. I think DPS. And interesting kit she has. I don't want to go into the kit too much. I just wanted to touch the quick bulletin points on the spotlight. Stadium. I think Pat, you and I talked a little bit about Stadium, and what we were excited about that.
Stadium looks very interesting. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think the thing that stuck out most to me were the very like Smite reminiscent mechanics. I don't know. I have a very limited vocabulary when it comes to these games, but the ability to purchase perks and other modifications to your hero throughout the match really
Mhm.
reminds me of games like MOBA games, like Smite.
Yeah, Smite
And
League.
yeah, you said it, not me.
Hey, yep, I'll throw that there.
But
I think and maybe the perks are going to be exclusive to the stadium mode. Like I said, I skimmed through the spotlight because as a former Overwatch player, I still like to be familiar with what's going on with the game. And then third person was a big curveball for some people for stadium mode.
It says competitive or perks will be in both competitive and quick play. It doesn't
Oh,
necessarily just say stadium, but the purchasable stuff, I think that's pretty sure
that's
that's
exclusive
just
to
stadium.
Stadium as far as I know. But yeah,
okay.
the
Yeah.
hero perks seemed to me like they would be more global, but I was not 100% on
Yeah,
board.
I would assume out of out of all the perks that a character has, it just gives you. It's like the augments. It just gives you a random one,
So
or maybe you
I have
pick
actually
between a
got one
couple.
of the ones that they showed off in the spotlight for like Orisa. So they introduced that they're either you can pick the perk, and I think this was one of the major augments if I remember correctly. You can get her protective barrier back. So her javelin spin is replaced with a barrier, or since she has a javelin now in Overwatch 2, energy javelin can be charged to increase projectile speed and knockback. Pierces enemies at full power. So if you get them lined up perfectly, that javelin could and hopefully the team's not placed. You could uh, theoretically hit all six heroes with a well placed charged javelin. So I think that's how they're going to be doing that.
Okay.
hmm they did talk about map reworks. I didn't look too deep into which maps were being reworked. Honestly, hashtag bring back Hanamura. I miss Hanamura. That's my love child, dude. I love
Hashtag
Hanamura.
delete Shin Shibuya.
Don't delete Shin Shibuya, dude.
Fucking delete Shin.
I love Shin
Sorry.
Shibuya. And then the other thing is, with Overwatch League dying a couple years ago, they announced Overwatch League is coming back. They're bringing it back. Overwatch League is, I used to follow it regularly back in Overwatch 1, and now that's coming back. I've been watching a lot of the Rivals competitions recently. I might dip my toes back in and start watching some of the Overwatch League competitions again. As long as feedback and these changes are positive and good, it doesn't hurt to dabble and get a feel back into the game. So
Doesn't hurt to
those are my thoughts.
dip your toes back in the peanut butter,
And peanut butter,
as Winston would
will.
say.
Hi there.
So shortly after the spotlight came out, I believe this interview came out yesterday, the 16th, if not the 15th. Aaron Keller, the director of Overwatch 2, did an interview with Game Radar, I believe. Let's get that. So I took two quotes from the interview. About he goes on about the pressure the Overwatch team has been feeling because of the launch of Rivals, and why they're doing some of the changes on in Overwatch. And one of the big things that stood out to me, as somebody that used to play it, hero bans were in the talks at at Blizzard for over 2 years, which is crazy to think about since the fans have been asking for it for longer than 2 years. So they considered it, they just never pulled the trigger on it, and Rivals was the thing that finally pushed them to say, hey, let's do it, why not? And it's just, competition drives companies to do drastic changes, to test the waters. There's the perks again, the hero perks we were talking about, and then 6v6. Obviously, a lot of people enjoyed 6v6 and Rivals, forcing Overwatch to finally fall and collapse into doing, officially bringing back 6v6. Any thoughts on this? I don't know if
No, I don't think so. Nothing that hasn't really been said. Overwatch fell off, and now they're shaking in their
they're
little.
scrambling.
They're shaking in their boots.
And it's exactly what we were talked about in the last episode. And like I said, these might be the right steps, the right changes. And I'll drop I'll send these links to you guys so we can drop the links down in the description in case you guys want to read the interview. I think it's very insightful on their thought process of doing these changes and where they're going to from here.
I think seeing what Blizzard is doing right now in Overdrive, kicking it, is a very good thing because it shows that
They care. They still care.
Yeah, I guess, but at the same time, we need more of this
Yeah.
for more studios, like editors for we need for Call of Duty to come around or Battlefield. We need to make them get their head out of their ass and start actually putting
listening to the fans, listening to where the money, listen to
exactly.
the money pockets.
I feel like an important component of it though is the fact that Marvel Rivals was like exactly what Overwatch was to the hero shooter community like when it launched after having fallen off so hard. But Call of Duty is so entrenched, just to use that as a specific example, in its own market that like save for them just deciding fuck it, we're done making Call of Duty games, there's almost no way to make a quote unquote Call of Duty killer. They tried it with X Defiant, they've tried it multiple other times throughout many, many console generations.
Not Borderlands. Battlefield. Battlefield was almost close a couple times, but
Battlefield's
I
coming
feel like
back.
the closest they got to it for me was Titanfall.
Oh yeah,
Really, I quite enjoyed it, but it was so its own thing. I hesitate to call it exactly a Call of Duty killer because I feel like that diminishes it a little bit, but getting a little bit off track.
Had them on the ropes.
No. Our biggest point here, competition is
Competition's good.
Money talks.
Is a good thing. Yeah, competition brings innovation.
That's why all of these big ass studios, EA, Activision, there's nothing fighting back. I mean, we are fighting back, but what are we?
Right.
People are still going to buy the games.
Yeah.
They're still going to pre-order them for the fancy skins.
Mm-hmm.
We're dropping the bucket.
I'm to be fair, I am guilty of it. I'm not totally
But-
Right
innocent
where
there,
that's
but
precisely why
it is
we
still
were
a
a drop
problem.
in the bucket. Hmm
And
We were
this is
just
going back to my point earlier. This is why I'm planning on holding the line a bit. Letting the first wave of people go back into Overwatch 1 to make my point of hey, Rivals did it well. They've been listening to us, and I've got a point to touch up on how Rivals has been listening to us, in the coming slides. But if as long as they start listening to us fans, the people that are playing the game, the people that are talking about the game, it might finally bring some. There might be some tough competition. Ideally more events, more story based stuff. Like everything that Overwatch 2 was supposed to be, like the PvE, has died. It's been canceled. They've announced that. So hopefully these changes are quality of life improvements, and they keep doing this and taking hero feedback and actually doing shit. Like the content drought. I talk about the content drought every now and then, and it was the best because it stayed the same. But with this, this is finally it. They'll finally to start. They'll be active. They'll be proactive. So
I hope to see more innovation, or at least daring to try new things from the Overwatch team. Personally, I'll be honest, it probably won't get me back on.
You know,
However, there's nothing I like more than seeing people learn from their mistakes,
absolutely,
maybe
numerous as they may
one
be.
day there will be a PvE mode. Just
Maybe.
maybe.
I hope.
Probably not,
Yeah.
but maybe.
Hopefully.
A nice dream.
So going back into the 6v6, I wanted to touch up on this as somebody that strongly hated this. In their spotlight, since the 6v6 is coming back, they started showcasing off and talking about the Moth meta. And if you know the Moth meta, I mean, you're familiar with it. If not, I'm not going to touch into that. I'm going to touch on the Goats meta because they talked specifically about the Goats meta. What the Goats meta is, it is 3 tanks, 3 healers. These 3 tanks have both really good shields. These healers have a lot of AoE healing, and a lot of burst healing. So Reinhardt, big shield tank, he can pretty much push the front line, and if they get close, he's got his giant hammer. Zarya, she's got her bubble that, based off damage she takes, increases the percentage of damage she deals. We got Brigitte, as she deals damage, she heals. Moira, any damage she deals, refills her heal, and she can throw out healing orbs or damage balls. Lucio, he has an AoE healing or speed boost. And then you got Diva, which is a close range shotgun tank that has a defense matrix that pretty much eats everything. So you've got constant healing going on top of constant damage on constant damage absorption. When the Goats meta was around, it was your team fights could last minutes on end because no one was dying, or because everybody was constantly out healing one another. It was terrible. Your ult charge would constantly come back up, and you would just constantly have to think about what can you focus, where's the weak link, and it was awful. However, the Goats meta was also fun because of that thinking processing power of what can I do about this. And I wanted to get this little quick rant in there that I really hope with the balance changes that ideally, hopefully they do when they fully implement 6v6, the Goats meta, it doesn't become the meta for Overwatch. It could definitely push away newcomers, people that come back, that sort of thing, into Goats.
I love Lucio. I just wanted to throw that out there. He is a goat.
The Goat.
I really liked playing Diva, but like the
Yeah, and Diva.
Mm-hmm.
Diva was
defense
fun.
matrix and shotgun combo. I appreciate the things that Overwatch can do sometimes, but it's not enough.
It
Not
is
anymore. Not after Marvel
truly.
Rivals. Speaking of,
As one more thing. As a casual player of Overwatch, it's really not like until you really get into it and start seeing the issues on the outside. It looks really fun. That's what gets
people in. Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah,
how they
exactly.
get you.
So,
That is
But Rivals
exactly-
doesn't have to get you.
Rivals
Speaking of-
already has got me, dude. I'm on that bait. They've got me hooking
We-
everything, dude.
When I dislocated my shoulder, they drugged me up to put it back in, and apparently all I talked about was Marvel Rivals. This
I
game
know.
has a chokehold on me.
I had to stream whenever I was playing and Pat was in the Discord with us. I was streaming the game for him, and he would just like it was. I feel like it was like peak entertainment for him, just watching some of the crazy plays. And even when we crash out, we've had nights where what we've done in our personal Discord is we'll late at night we'll throw on some YouTube, just watch whatever comes up on my recommended, my algorithm, whatever. But we've had nights recently where we'll throw on like a Twitch streamer and we'll just start watching Marvel Rivals gameplay, which is something that I haven't. I occasionally watch my Twitch streams, but like I haven't like sat down and watched like a hero shooter streams in such a long time since Overwatch League. so Rivals has it's like, oh my gosh, it's addictive. It's awful.
Shout out, Wolverine. What's his name?
Yeah,
The number one
TF,
Wolverine
yeah,
player.
Super TF. Shout out
We'll
SK.
get-
Shout out Doki Bird.
Flash.
Shout out all the Marvel Rivals streamers. There have been
Mhm.
so many people trying and playing
Let's,
this game that it's inundated us with content. Thank
Producer,
you.
let's get some of their pictures up right here. Let's get Super, let's get SK, Flats, Tim the Tatman, throw Tim the Tatman up, and then you could probably throw like a little in the small corner, bottom right corner, a very small picture of Ninja raging out or something.
In the picture in the bottom left of the thing, can you put Tim Allen's face over
Right here? Over here.
No, the thing, like over his face.
Oh, Tim Allen right here.
Yeah.
Oh.
This home
So-
is going to be improved.
So Rivals has the Rivals team has come out and stated a couple things. Just within since our last recording, they've been in talks with Nintendo about bringing Rivals to the Switch 2. They've talked about how they've gotten developer kit and they're trying to work around the processing power to bring Rivals to Switch. Portable Rivals.
I wonder how that'll
That'd be
go.
great.
If it'll be like Fortnite crossplay, like when we would play
Mm.
PC and Jarrell would
That was
play on
dirty.
Switch.
That was dirty.
that was yeah, exactly. It
Oh
was
my
like
God.
every game was a dub. But I
I-
wonder if it'll be that type of
Cross
like Switch players are so
crossplay.
dramatically nerfed compared
Mhm.
to PC and
Disadvantage, yeah.
even console at that
Well,
point.
because you got to think about it like this: the Switch 2 is at least purported to have the same amount of power as maybe a
PlayStation
PS4
4, wasn't
Pro, maybe a PS4
Oh.
Pro if we're really pushing it, right?
Mm.
So
but
okay, so it won't be that
it-
bad.
it's still an Unreal Engine 5 game designed for the console generation after what the Switch 2 is supposed to be replicating, because Nintendo's always been
Damn.
one step behind in terms of like console generation
Processing
power, right? Just not in like a derogatory way either.
It's the
They just
family
have
selling
such
point. They don't need
right.
the
They have
power.
such quality. They give out such a consistent product that they don't really have to push for like graphical innovation necessarily. Hell, one of the best-selling games on Switch was a Wii U game, Breath of the Wild. So they clearly had no trouble running it on
Oh man, I forgot about
glorified
that.
PS3
Producer,
hardware.
get a picture of Mario up on the screen right now, please. So
Please
I
and
mean,
thank you.
I hope if hypothetically they do roll out Rivals on Switch 2, I hope they finally, as a whole, roll out, being able to turn off crossplay. Personally, as someone that plays on PC, I hate hopping into quick play, trying to get a couple warm ups in before I do competitive, only to be stuck with like a PlayStation Insta Lock Spider-Man player that's a one trick. Let me shut that off. Let me turn it off. I will happily play with other platforms, but give me the option to turn that off as well.
I feel like
and-
most games with crossplay have that option to turn it off, so I'm surprised they don't have one.
Exactly.
I've never looked into it, so honestly, this is news to me.
Like
I didn't
if,
know that there wasn't a way to turn
like,
it off.
Like if I have to wait a bit longer with the queue times, by all means, I will happily wait if I get that option. But if I just want to hop in for some casual, quick play,
Casual.
let me at least decide if I want to do crossplay or if I want to do, PC only, right? Um, any final thoughts on the Switch 2 port announcement or current talks, rumors?
let's say.
Mhm.
Really, I think it just comes down to a matter of how the processing power of the Switch 2 ends up actually being, as opposed to what it's rumored to be. I'd be very, very interested to see if they make a separate version for the Nintendo Switch 2, just because of the
Without
limitations
crossplay?
that they might face without crossplay. Free to play, but contained to a Nintendo Switch 2, Nintendo Switch
Splatoon.
Online environment. Splatoon, essentially, but a third party
There's
and
definitely a
with
market.
licensed heroes.
Oh,
I would
absolutely.
There's
no
enough people to keep that port
the
popping.
Nintendo Switch, the first Nintendo Switch is at least the second best selling console uh, of all time, depending on if Sony decides to fluff the numbers for the PS2. But I think it's still well on its way. And that don't get me wrong, I love the PlayStation 2. Favorite
Dude,
personal childhood
Transformers was on
console.
PlayStation 2. Are you
That's what
forgetting
I'm
about that
saying.
gem? Jack
I
2, 3? The
Not to
racing
mention
mission
the
in
Ratchet
Jack
and Clank,
3?
the racing mission in Jack 3 that literally took the air out of my lungs. Yes, but if the
Shout out Jack.
Switch 2
White Jack.
even pushes like 75% of the units that the Switch 1 did, Marvel Rivals will have an entire, like, the PC community equivalent in just straight numbers. So it would
Mhm.
behoove them, just for skin sales, to like make a separate version for the Switch
Absolutely.
2 if it could even remotely handle it.
Now,
But
the
what I
other
can't remotely handle, personally, I don't know if you have any further thoughts on the Switch 2 port, but I have some thoughts on our next point.
I got very vocal about this in our group chat we have, and I'm so glad once again the developers listen to us. They've been phenomenal at listening to us for buffs, nerfs, all this sort of stuff. They've been listening to us and at least talking to us about why they won't do it or why they are doing certain things. They announced a week ago or so that they were going to do a mid-season rank decay where you were going to drop 4 ranks at the start of the second half of season 1, and without with most of the community essentially saying no, don't do this is terrible. I've taken so long for me to get up to grandmaster, diamond, whatever rank they ended off at. And not even 24 hours later, the developers came out and said, all right, we've listened to you. The mid-season decay, which was going to be 4 ranks, they've gone away with. And they said, however, at the end of season 1, there will be a 6 rank decay, because they were initially going to do a mid-season 4 rank on top of the end of season 6 rank, which is a total of 10 ranks if you're not playing, ranked, or if you're hard stuck. Um, at least now we know at the end of the season it's 6 ranks, not the 7 that was at the end of season 0. Um,
That was brutal.
it
Yeah,
was rough. Yeah, playing in high silver, uh, being dropped down from diamond down to high silver, and essentially playing with the grandmasters and eternity one above all, because they all got bumped down within my. I was playing with season 1 launch gold and silver players, which were essentially so many ranks higher than me. It was brutal. It was a brutal shift. Because I was also stuck with silver players. Um, but I think them taking a step back, listening to the community, taking these changes, and saying, all right, we're gonna backtrack on this. Obviously, you guys don't want this. Obviously, maybe we overstepped. Was a good call on their behalf.
Don't even get me started on silver players.
You're making your way up there. You'll catch up to
I
us.
was stuck in silver dealing with those idiots for so no actually no, all the offense to everybody that's listening.
anyone who is silver
If
in
you
Marvel
cannot,
Rivals,
like, I'm sure there's some like genuinely, I mean, I was stuck in silver for so long. I saw some really good players go through silver and they could have been stuck too. But at the same time, I also saw people who, again, insta-lock Spider-Man Go fucking
Spider-Man
1 and
8,
9.
dude.
Go
Call
fucking
me,
1 and 19.
call me J. Jonah Jameson the way I be hating Spider-Man, dude.
You could
God.
hear me
God.
make a convincing
There,
J.K. Simmons impression in some of these voice calls when I get dove by a good
I
Spider-Man. The wrath. Oh, the
Dude,
wrath I
fucking
feel.
menace. It's a menace.
I absolutely love a good Spider-Man though. Like there is such a massive difference between a bad Spider-Man and a good Spider-Man
Oh
because
yeah.
a bad one is just infuriating, but a good one is like it's fun to watch them, to
Oh
see
yeah.
what they do. And like you'll look at the scoreboard 1 second they're going like 5-1. Couple minutes later after you hear their ultimate or something, they're
17
all
and
the way
1.
they're all the way up like they're fucking 20-2 or something. Like it's insane. They're just they're masters of their craft. They are
Absolutely.
him.
So when they announced that rank decay, they did also announce finally when the second half of season 1 launches. Season 1, for those that don't know, is they've announced is double the season length of their average season. So they're kicking off, season 1 strong. They're releasing 4 heroes in season 1. We got obviously Invisible Woman and Reed Richards in the first half. Phenomenal choices. I love playing as Invisible Woman. A shout out the Malice skin.
A,
Love that skin.
a
Not to
good
um,
Mr.
mention.
what's that, Zach?
Go ahead, Zach.
A good Mr. Fantastic again with the good Spider-Man. Mr. Fantastic when you go up against a good one, crazy.
Crazy, crazy. He
I
knows where he knows when to pull back. He knows when to ult. It's terrifying.
last night I compared him to the Ripper from Call of Duty Ghosts.
It's true. He's a very Swiss
He's a
Army
DPS
knife
and
kind of
then
DPS.
yeah,
He's
exactly. When
tanky,
he
yeah.
wants to go tank to deal with another tank or something, he can do it. And
Managing
Mhm.
that
it's
elasticity
insane.
is absolutely
Crucial.
crucial to playing him
Crucial,
well.
absolutely.
But I have to say I much prefer his wife to play myself because her ultimate is
Game
it
changer.
is amazing. It's fantastic. That slowing effect you get on the enemies, you get to fight on a point so ferociously just because you turn invisible to the outside enemy team, and they don't want to go inside because it's fantastic.
It's
They don't want
fantastic.
to go in there. They don't want to go into the Invisible Woman area of effect. She's a fantastic burst healer with that little boomerang projectile plus her shield. Being able to manage that, super fun.
I've
She
had my
can
fair
even
share of getting pushed off the map by a couple
right.
Invisible
I
Women,
was gonna
and
say
it's
I don't know if you've
I
engaged in it yourself, but I've indulged in quite a few Loki copy uh, Invisible Woman just for the ult, and then I realized I've got a little push ability, and when we're on that Wakanda map or the Hydra base map with the little ledge near the point,
hmm
so free.
And
It's ridiculous.
absolutely, it's
It's fantastic.
Say that again.
Fantastic.
Say that again.
It's
so.
fantastic.
On the 21st, we are getting the Human Torch. He's gonna be another DPS character. We do have some leaks on his kit.
Oh, I think it's both of their kids.
I saw 2 different variations for the thing. And I was gonna include the leaks for the Human Torch here. I just don't know about, how things if I throw some leaks up on screen, how that would work. So the next best thing, here's the thing.
Ah,
His eyes kind of freak
here's
me
the
out.
thing.
I'm just gonna say it. His eyes kind of freak me out a little bit.
uh
Like, and to go
so
back to that last the picture of the thing on the last slide, what drew my attention with the Tim Allen bit. Look at his eyes. They're just very animated looking, I guess. I don't really know how
yeah,
to
I mean they're smaller proportionately to his head. Like um
there's just I don't know. Kind of
as
freaks me out.
as a Vanguard main, I am very much excited for the thing. Personally, the thing is my favorite member of the Fantastic Four, followed by the Invisible Woman. But that's was I'm a dude, all right, whatever. But Ben Grimm, he's essentially the heart of the team. He's their rock, he's their thing.
So to
So
speak.
um but no, I mean, that's that. I guess that's the last couple things I had for the Rivals devs update. I did have this little slide right up here, but we're hitting our 45 minute mark already.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay.
So I did want to
I
rush
think we
through
can
this.
push it.
Obviously, I've been maining Strange in comp. Our producer and Zach have been playing Hulk. Our producer is a Star-Lord made cracked. He hit a 67 bomb.
67. Yeah, it was
67
67.
bomb in a competitive match. Producer Pete, feel free to throw your stats up here on right here in this screen right here. Because I had some crazy stats. I know Pat had some crazy low-key heals that match. And it was ridiculous. I think that's what pushed us up into plat. And right now we're sitting in diamond. Pat's been playing a lot of the Loki. And then Jared's not here. I threw in this little penny jump scare in for us, for him, but he's not with us right
Again with the eyes, it's not sitting right.
now.
Ain't no thoughts behind them eyes.
I have a couple more things in here, but we can touch up on this in the next episode. Just wanted to throw on some stuff, some recommendations, things we've been watching. Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, been thoroughly enjoying that. Pat, I think you've watched the first couple episodes with us. Is that right?
Yeah, I was in here when you guys were watching it. It
I
looks.
I'm
I don't
not a
know.
fan of
For
the
me
animation
personally, yeah,
style.
the animation style really rubbed me wrong. I wasn't paying that much attention to the story,
The
but
story
I'm
is
not. It
thorough.
doesn't
It's
seem particularly offensive to
awesome.
my sensibilities, so
Pat,
maybe I'll go
any
through and watch it when it's finished.
quick comments on Daima or Dexter? I know you've been watching
Well,
Dragon
this
Ball.
week I know we've got some Daima viewers. We've got one Daima viewer in here actually who isn't caught up, so I won't reveal the excitement that I feel at the most recent episode. But if you've watched it, then you will understand. It's a
Oh,
very big moment.
absolutely.
But
Oh man.
yeah, I have to say I'm excited to see how it wraps up because I know that new Dragon Ball content is hard to come by these days. So I'm really savoring every
Rest in
last moment.
peace,
I live in a
Akira
world
Toriyama.
absolutely fly high. Um, I'm absolutely relishing every second. I live in a world where there is new Dragon Ball content being fed to me. So,
Oh, absolutely. Any thoughts on Dexter? I know you just started watching it. I think I've
uh,
seen the first season, and I think after I finish watching what I'm watching, I will finally hop into Dexter and binge watch that.
yeah, I think after all this time of ignoring Dexter on the on my journey through Prestige TV, I finally landed here, and I have to say it is nice to finally watch it. I really resonate with the first season. I hear that the quality eventually fades, but anything that goes on for around 8 seasons, you can't expect them to keep up
Hmm.
the same level of quality the whole time. It would be nice if they did, but I'm willing to accept a decline in quality because I hope by that point I will be attached enough to the characters not to care. And so
Do,
far, it's shaping up that I am going to be very
do
attached to
you
these
think you will be
characters.
reading the books, or do you think you're going to finish season 8 and then consider the books from there?
I would love to read the books eventually. I will probably modify that answer depending on how season 8 goes and the rest of the show stuff. I guess really it'll depend on how much the books um end up being adapted in the final seasons because I know they deviate.
Okay.
But if I like the content that the show adapted that is present in the books, I'll probably end up reading them.
Okay. Well, I think we'll, as you go through, and as we record, we'll get little Dexter updates from you. Because I know the big show, and obvious it's right here big on the screen that
There it
we've all
is.
been watching together is Invincible. Um, season 3 kicked off strong, and I am loving every second of it. Animation, hashtag bring back those animators. But the story's there. I can look past the animation. So
Yeah,
phenomenal.
absolutely.
Absolutely, catch up, watch it if you haven't been watching it.
I need to catch up. I need to catch up.
Absolutely, please do,
Mhm.
please do.
Yeah. No, it's
Um,
excellent. And I feel like the most of the driving force behind why I enjoy this season so much is because a lot of the setup from the first 2 seasons is finally receiving all of its
It
payoff.
only took 3 seasons for that to happen. I'm
Right,
just,
and not-
oh
it's-
my gosh.
That's only one aspect of it, but it's a huge aspect. Just
I know. It's something
the
we've been asking for.
one central moving part of the grand plot is finally starting
The
to
heart.
move.
Mhm.
Yeah, the heart of the story is finally starting to beat. And
Mhm.
I really have liked this show ever since
We
we
started watching
it together. Yeah, we watched the first season's debut, and I was hooked.
I remember the
after
first
the-
episode. Our jaws
Mhm.
dropped, and we were like,
We
"Oh my
were
god!"
totally gobsmacked. It was ridiculous. The emotions that first episode elicited were
Having to
so
wait a
vivid and
week
intense,
for
right?
I'm glad. I'm
Mhm.
glad we at least got the 3-episode drop at the start.
That was very generous of
Yeah,
them,
beautiful.
especially after how long the wait between season 1 and 2 were.
Oh,
It was
absolutely
just
phenomenal.
too much. But I'm glad that they've maintained animation quality at the very least without taking as
absolutely.
much time.
Absolutely.
So
Zach,
good stuff.
you've been watching Barry.
Oh, I've been watched Barry.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Any quick notes you
I
want to
could
give us on Barry, or do
I
you think
could
you got your own video coming up for that on Barry?
I
'Cause you're-
do definitely want to do a video in the future. Maybe if one of you finishes it in the
Okay.
future, we could do a video reflecting on it.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, I don't want to say a whole lot just because it's a show best went into blind, even though
Okay.
this picture kind of spoils a small aspect, I guess.
I've
I
got
don't
no
really know.
clue what the context.
Yeah,
of this is.
with no context, it doesn't really mean anything. But no, it's fantastic. It is definitely one of the best shows I've seen. Pretty short. You could watch you could watch the whole thing, and
Say that again.
I think it's like you could watch the whole thing in probably like 16 hours, I think.
Okay.
Um,
I know I've got it on my
yeah,
list.
Bill Hader is great. Anthony Kerrigan, who did you say he played in Gotham?
He plays Victor Zsasz in it, and he is casted as Metamorpho in James Gunn's upcoming Superman movie. Jarrell, if you could get a picture of Metamorpho and Anthony, what's his last name? Anthony
Kerrigan.
Anthony Kerrigan up here. And
Yes.
Jarrell, I'll send you a couple pictures of him so you can get them up on screen.
Him and Barry, he is fantastic. Obviously Bill Hader is great. Henry Winkler is in it. Crazy.
The Winkler.
What is he? The Foz? Is that who he plays?
You're right. Oh, I had no clue where I recognized that name from, but it's the Fonz from Happy
Fonz.
Days.
Yes.
Hey.
Yeah, he's in it. He's brilliant. Yeah, definitely a video in the future where we discuss spoilers, the actual parts of the show once one of you finishes it, because I've been containing my Barry rot this whole time, and I'm ready to let it out.
Okay.
I'm ready to go in.
I might have to expedite my watch on it then if
It's
that's the case.
4 seasons. Each season is 8 episodes,
6 seasons in the
roughly
movie.
roughly half an hour long each episode.
Okay.
And you'll fly through it.
Well, I'll get my producer. I'll get our producer to watch it too with us. Jarrell, we're watching Barry. We're watching Barry next.
It is
Spider-Man and Invincible.
It is great. It is definitely yeah, I'll save it.
Alrighty. And then I think this was the last thing I wanted to talk about. We were dabbling into some of the shows because we, are obviously pretty passionate about Invincible. Daima, I will be just binge watching that here shortly. Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. I've been enjoying the story. Like I said, the animation has some struggles, but I don't want to just keep this to shows because obviously movies are a pretty big thing. We're pretty nerdy guys. We've been talking about Rivals for our first 2 episodes, whatever you want to call these.
MojoCast.
For MojoCast. I wanted to talk about Captain America: Brave New World. I haven't watched it yet. It's Monday. As we're recording the 17th of February. And it came out, this past weekend. And I do plan on watching it sometime this week. I am excited. I watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier here in our Discord together, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I absolutely understand why Falcon was given the shield. Now it's time to see him as the Cap. So I wanted to touch up on that. And then I got a little a little clip from Twitch. As I don't know if I've said it before in the previous episode. I think Jeff is one of the worst healers.
Fuck Jeff.
And I had and I it so that when
Fuck Jeff.
when Jared, I almost called him Jeff, dude. Fuck Jeff, fuck Jeff, dude, fuck Jeff. When Jared gets back, a little context: our Jeff pulled all of our heroes off a point, and we lost match because he ulted for refused to spit any of the team out, and we got C9. So I had a little crash out, had to hop off for the night, ended the stream there. So it was, yeah. Any final thoughts on before we wrap the second episode of MojoCast with the Mojo Boys?
Go ahead.
Sam
Go ahead.
Lake, if you're listening to this, please come to a wedding in June. You will be
28.
receiving invitations shortly. But other than that, what did you have to say, Zach?
Yeah, I honestly I was gonna shout out Remedy, always popping off.
Yeah, we will be having a video on the Remedyverse for sure. You want some
Oh,
yapping? We will be
absolutely,
giving
absolutely.
you yapping for free.
Okay.
Free yap. Look
The
for it in the
yappening.
inbox. The
We're
yappening.
We're talking Max Payne 1 through 3. We both need to beat Quantum Break, so
Absolutely.
we'll beat Quantum Break, then make the video, and then both Alan Wakes, control all the DLCs, or I guess all 3 Alan Wakes if you whatever.
6 games in the movie.
Second,
6 games.
stay tuned on the channel. There will be some full streams posted soon.
Some VODs. Well, we'll
VODs,
leave the VODs.
yep.
We'll leave the VODs. My Twitch VODs over on Twitch. But we can definitely get
Maybe some
clip
stream highlights.
montages.
Yeah.
Some clip
Yeah.
montages clipped together, thrown up on there. We've been definitely talking about getting some more content pumped out because I know it's been 2 weeks since our last recording, since our last upload.
Yeah.
So we've been
Hey,
in talks
we're still getting set up,
We had to take it easy.
So
learning how to do everything.
like we said at the end of the last one, any suggestions, anything you guys want to see, definitely leave it in the comics. Comics.
Please draw comics of us. Please draw comics of us. I will give you a firm handshake.
I want to shake your hand.
Yeah, we need a better logo. Make us a logo.
We need a banner. Banner coming soon. We are.
I'm hulking out.
We got something set up for the banner. It's gonna look pretty cute, pretty silly, pretty
Just
wacky. Maybe.
you wait.
Say that again.
It's gonna be
Beautiful.
All right. Cool.
and that's a wrap.